Hi, everybody. Come on in, guys. So excited about tonight's topic. Come on in. Come on in, y'all. Are y'all ready? Tonight, I am so excited about what's about to take place. Hi, I see y'all coming on in. Don't forget to comment, give us your name and where you're from. Okay, really quick, while we're setting up, everybody, again, give me your name and where you're from. And look, let's take 1 minute for a quick video. Hello, this is D. Hello, this is Dee Smith of Made Whole Counseling and Motivate Me D. We have partnered up with NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness, to bring you season 2 of the Counseling Cafe. Join us every other Monday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook Live. Our shows will focus on mental, emotional, spiritual, relational wellness. Set your alarm and let's walk together in wholeness. Remember, you are favored, you are healed, and you are whole. Hi, guys. Welcome. I see everybody is joined. Oh, I see y'all in here tonight about the singlehood. I'm excited. Hi, Victoria. Hey, Carla. What's happening? I see you. Hey, Dawn, Adrian. I see all of y'all, Danielle. I see y'all from Zach. I feel y'all. Okay, we have a plethora of people watching. Would you guys do us a big, giant favor? Please tag all your single friends, first of all, like and share. Would you go ahead and share? Because I promise you, there are going to be nuggets dropped tonight that is going to help your soul. It's going to help your life. So please, we have two beautiful experts, and they just so happen to be single. I'm just saying, I'm not, like matchmaking or nothing. I'm just saying, everybody on here is single except for Dion. So if y'all don't mind, go ahead and like and tag and share, okay? All right. First, we're going to bring up the beautiful Pastor Dominique Washington.
Girl. Hey, everybody.
Look, go ahead and tell everybody. I don't know why they wouldn't know you, but just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
First of all, major correction. I am not an expert at anything, but I am gifted in a plethora of things. As she said, I am Pastor Dominique Washington. I am the associate pastor or assistant pastor at Higher Ground Outreach Church in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I am also the campus pastor of Hosanna Christian Academy. And I have authored, 6 books now, a self-published author. Yes, I am single. Yes, I am a boss and a queen and all of those great things. So that's about sums it up for me. Okay.
Well, that's a wonderful summation. So look, I'm so excited. And I am excited to introduce my a brand spanking new friend. He is a fellow colleague. And this is Saeed Joyce. I'm going to bring him up, guys.
Hello, everybody. Hey, what's up, everybody?
So tell everybody about yourself.
I don't know how I can come behind Dominique. She did such a good job. but once again, my name is Saeed Joyce, licensed clinical social worker, independent private practice, located out here in Chicago, Illinois.
Awesome. All right. Ooh, for Chicago. Okay. I see you guys. Carla says, I'm not single, but I want to say hilarious, Carla. I see y'all. And listen, if you don't mind, would you go ahead? We already know this is going to be a one and popping topic. So if you don't mind, like, comment, and share early, guys, because you want your single friends to get this information. And listen, even tag the toxic people. Shh, don't tell them I said that. Just go ahead and tag the toxic people so that they can see how to get healed, healthy, and whole. Okay, I am hyped about tonight. Okay, so where do y'all want to start? I think let's open up with talking about maybe the difficulty in dating in 2021. Is it difficult or is it not? And y'all can comment in the comment section.
I need to see this comment section because I need some insight and understanding um, on dating, period. I don't know what year has it been a great time, but dating, period, is it can be one of those things that has its moments, its ups and downs. I don't know, Saeed, what you think?
I think dating is easy. It's the dating is easy. Everybody can go out here. You can have multiple dates every day of the week. It's just the longevity of the relationships that gets difficult.
Mm.
Well,
That-
it's Monday, and it's been Monday for quite some time. If we want to be honest, so I do think, and I would agree that collecting the data can be easy, but it also depends on the perspective of the individual. Because I'm probably sure I have a few what they like to call alpha females and independence and all of those natures. I can be honest in the moment and say the easiness that you talk about, I haven't really seen yet because most of the time, as men would be like, don't judge a book by its cover, don't call me and try to label me before you know me. There are so many times that because of who I am, that whether it's the title in front of my name, I've actually had a guy that said, I thought you was bougie because of the suit you had on. And it was like a little jean suit, nothing real major. And so sometimes the other person or what they have in their perspective of what you may be may make it be kind of standoffish. So if I can be real honest and transparent, that every day of the week, like I mentor and counsel people that say they went to Walmart. I done been to Walmart a few times, Winn-Dixie, Albertsons, Rouse's, Calvin Supermarket, the grocery store. And I don't come out with a date on the end. Not that I want to, but sometimes collecting the data is easier said than done for some people. Do I have some people in the comment section that can say,
yeah. Look, I'm about to share. Okay, so Sharitha says, yes, it's difficult. It looks like we need some guys to support Saeed now. Can y'all tag your male counterparts? Because go ahead, Saeed.
Like the platforms, I think the platform that a lot of people use for dating too. Like I heard Dominique talk about like going to the grocery store to Walmart, but there's so many dating apps out here. It's so easy just to match with somebody and then go on a date. But then once you match with them and you go on a date, it's like, okay, then it comes in the judgment that Dominique was talking about. You show up in a jean outfit and they like, well, I think you bougie. But you get on but getting to the date and maybe even sticking through the date, that's the easy part. It just when just getting to know somebody and understanding who they are, that's when it starts getting difficult.
yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I keep telling myself I'm not that desperate yet. Like, and I'm not, no shot, no shot to anybody. My mama tried to secretly sign me up if she on here. She tried to secretly sign me up for one of those match websites, but then they sent me an email to let me know that somebody started a profile. That was a few, we went through that. It was a few years ago. But sometimes even the idea of that, because we have this perception of how our dating situation should go and how it should be navigated, some people may be like, well, I don't know if I'm that desperate yet to try Christian Mingle or Match.com. But I will be honest and say, did y'all know that Facebook have a dating version? Y'all may not want to go to Match and Christian Mingle, but Facebook has a dating version that I've heard about in the wind that I didn't know existed. And y'all been, in the inbox a little bit. Yeah.
So look,
know that?
I don't think they know that, but I think they're gonna go check it out.
Please don't. Like, tread lightly, because when you allow somebody to inbox, no, I'm telling them, not you. Don't you tread at all, because you're gonna get me. But when you allow somebody to inbox you but through social media, you do know that they can call and FaceTime you. So I've heard some horror stories. So tread lightly with this Facebook situation.
So look, it looks like Sharitha's saying she's seen it. Victoria says be careful on those apps. So I love how we're starting out because it looks like from the female perspective, we're getting a lot of it's difficult. And from Saeed, he's like, well, no, to go out or to even start a conversation, that's the easy part. And I do agree, staying or finding someone that you're truly connected with, that really takes the work. It says, yes, they do. I'd rather another app. Okay. So, and I will say, I mean, I guess because I'm pro love, I'm like pro dating apps, you know what I'm saying? But you do have to vet as best that you can. Like, just vet.
I'm
Is
pro
that
dating too. I think it I mean, especially given the time that we've been living in, I think it's actually good to keep people connected. I think it brings a lot of people who may be shy. It gives them the opportunity to finally like maybe shoot their shot. I
mhm.
think I'm just pro dating apps, and then on top of that, I think you can like a lot of these apps now they have like options where you can say like essentially this is a hard limit for me. Like I'm staying between this age, and it's a hard limit. You can click a button, and they won't essentially show you somebody that's over there. So there's a way of creating the early boundaries. I think I'm pro dating. I am pro dating apps.
Yeah, the dating apps do ask you a lot of questions. And so, depending on how honest you're willing to be, like he said, it does put you right where you want to be. They ask you stuff that you didn't even think about approaching, and that you may not even think to ask or have an answer for if you're on an actual date and just casually meeting somebody. But they do ask you a plethora of questions so that you can vet some people out. Mhm.
So Danny says, just be wise, pace yourself, don't move too fast too soon. Exactly. Or you'll end up murdered in the closet with semen. I'm just saying. That's how
You got to stop watching. Like TV is
I,
out for you.
I,
Lifetime for you.
you'll be in the trunk dead. So be careful, guys. Okay, so look, from the audience, please tell us rather, if you have used dating sites and if that's been a positive experience or a negative. But let's kind of move a little deeper into the psychology of singlehood at this moment. So, what do you guys think is one or two of the biggest issues when it comes to finding that authentic love connection?
Um, you go ahead, Dominique.
No, I was gonna let you have the floor. By all means,
Okay.
go.
I think the biggest issue is not finding the authentic love connection with yourself first.
Oh,
I
yes.
think uh I think we go a lot of people go in these relationships and they don't know themselves, and then they learn themselves throughout the relationship, which you always learn yourself throughout the relationship. But I think you can save a lot of heartache if you really try to get to know yourself as much as possible prior to engaging in these relationships, because then you won't put up with a lot of stuff. You're like, no, I'm not for that. I don't stand for that. This is my hard limit. These are my boundaries. But when you don't love yourself authentically or know yourself authentically, you just out there.
I love that. I love Dominique. You want to say something to that? I love
No,
that. I got something to say.
I I firmly agree with that one of loving authentically and knowing yourself, and then being realistic in the expectation of your involvement with another person. A lot of times we know why we want to be connected with people, but we don't want to be honest and say the reason of the why. I think a few weeks ago I put a question on there, it was like, tell me honestly, why do you really want to be married? And if your honest reason for wanting to be married is because I need somebody to come help me pay these bills, going into a situation and going at it with the unrealistic expectation that he may be looking for love and you looking for somebody to pay bills, and you're trying to figure out why it's not working, it's because you didn't have your realistic why of how this should be maneuvered and how I should move throughout my singlehood, but also being realistic in that being in a relationship is not just about you. So you're not going in with everything that you need, but you also need to be honest and realize that you're going in also filling in what somebody else desires too. So we just don't be honest and say we go in and we selfish. He
Yeah.
bought me this purse. Can he buy me these shoes? Can he take me to this restaurant? Will he be ready to post these pictures? But you're forgetting the fact that you're connecting with somebody that also has things that they desire from a person that they are in connection with as well. So you're going in not just saying, how can I be served, but how can I serve you? And that's the part where we fail.
I love that. I love both perspectives. Victoria says, not truly being honest with what it is that you want in a mate or a relationship in the beginning, and then later on placing those expectations on that person. That also is wonderful. For what Saeed said about like self love, I do agree that a lot of people really don't know themselves, or you know yourself through the lens of your family or your friends or your exes, but you really didn't take a break from those kind of romantic relationships to really get to know yourself. And when you don't know yourself, you don't have boundaries. I'm sorry. It's hard to have boundaries if you don't know who you are. On the flip side, there are some people who love themselves so much that there's no space for anyone else. And that's what Dominique is saying, like, love yourself, know yourself, but so not so much where you're not also willing to give, also willing to serve. Okay, they saying, come on, evangelist, say it. Okay, so y'all over here talking good. Y'all talking good. So let's just kind of get into let's talk about self-love a little bit and boundaries. How do you think that plays into, somebody looking for a mate? Why is that so important?
It's like you said. I think it's so important because you know what you're going to tolerate and what you're not going to tolerate. I think you just have if you have expectations for yourself, it's easier to place those expectations on other people. Um, I just think it's essential, like to a relationship, is knowing yourself, so that way you like the whole you teach people how to treat you kind of saying. Like, I know it's so cliche, but that's so true though. And sometimes you teach them by how you treat yourself. So it's important to know yourself.
It is.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead, Dominique.
I also think boundaries are important because you have to know how far you're willing to go to get to what it is that you want. If you don't know how far you're willing to, then you will find yourself years later still doing whatever is necessary just so I can say that I have this size 32 pair of pants standing next to me in this picture, right? And so if you don't have boundaries, then somebody will take you as far as they need, and then you look up and you're not getting what you need, but you didn't set the boundary. And I can be honest and say I've been in a situation to where because I was afraid to say that I was abstaining, because I had been in a relationship where somebody broke up with me in college because I wasn't be sexually active. Then I went into the next situation afraid to be able to say first off, because and when I was younger coming up, especially even now, that'll be my first thing. If you trying to smash, it's a pass. Don't worry about it. And so I tried to, tone that down a bit because it looked like it was getting me to the brick wall and outside of what I desire. So I went in saying, I ain't going to say it at all. I'm not going to mention it. My homeboy say, don't lead with it. Don't worry about it. And then I'm knowing the conversation is going to come. I know when I'm in certain spaces, but I was too afraid to say my boundary and my line stops at this place. And so you get yourself into a situation where you got to run with the shoes you got and say, hey, somebody help me, please, because it's not that I can't, but my boundary can only take me so far. And then not being afraid to say where your boundary is, because when you're afraid to say where your boundary is, people will keep jumping over it. And then you're thinking, if I tell them that I have this boundary, then that will probably bound me to my singleness. And that's not true. And it gets you into a place with fear. And if fear leads you, there is definitely going to be lack in you being fulfilled.
I love what you guys are saying. Boundaries also keep you safe. It keeps you emotionally safe. If we were to sum it up in a nutshell, it keeps you emotionally safe and mentally well. Because, like Dominique stated, if you don't have those boundaries, then the person, you're going to be on their joyride. And their joyride might be a ride of toxic abuse, cheating, fighting, all the things that you don't want. But because those boundaries have not been set, then it's just like you on their joyride. And look, what I hear from a lot of people is, but I love him, but I love her. And so let's talk about when you love a person, but they are crossing those boundaries. But y'all don't understand. This is who I believe is my soulmate. Talk to the people about how they feel and what they know. Talk to them, y'all.
So I say this. I tell a lot of people this: like, you gotta when you're in a situation like that, you got to find a way to uh mask the emotion, because the emotion is what's bounding you there. So one thing I tell a lot of people is two things. Ask yourself, if this was my friend, what would I tell my friend?
What would you tell your
And
friend?
that way, that erases the emotional tie, and it opens up for more logic. Another thing I always tell people is you can't get understanding in a toxic situation.
Come on.
You gotta leave that situation. Rather, you gotta go up the street, around the corner for a couple days. Honestly, you definitely just need to leave the neighborhood, anything you familiar with, you know, not the grocery store, like, and you gotta go for a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
That first day is probably gonna be the most emotional day, where you really feeling like you missing such and such or whatever. But then that second, third day, you start to think a little clearer. And then once you start thinking a little clearer, ask yourself that question I talked about earlier. If this was Dominique, what would I tell Dominique?
Mm-hmm.
And then once that emotional factor is masked, then you can start making logical assessments. But it goes back to what Dominique and everybody was saying earlier. You have to be honest with yourself.
Mm.
You have to be brutally honest with yourself. You can't be like, but this, nah. You got to tell it how it is.
Yeah.
I love that. And look, let's do a little pinpoint of what he said. He said, master emotion. We really could just work on that for a little bit about mastering your I love him, right?
Mhm.
Master those emotions. And then he said, take a break. And then talk to yourself like you would a friend. Listen, guys, if this is good, can y'all like, tag, and share? Go ahead, Dominique. What say you?
I totally agree about masking the emotion and being honest and knowing. And I think people may not know this. Love is not one dimensional. It love does not stop at a feeling. And so what happens when you have this idea that my love and how I feel gets to dictate how I move, you will find yourself moving in spaces and places with people that you know in your logic, your reasoning, in your faith, your believer, in your mama and your momo them, it's foolish, right? But if you only look at love as being how I feel, love is also very intelligent. Love is not just feeling. It has some intelligence that goes with it because love is about fulfillment. And so if love is about fulfilling me, fulfilling others, and fulfilling what God desires, then I have to also have some sense in it. And so we like to look at love as only being about how I feel. There are some more senses that play a part in the love that you have. So if you look at your relationship and I say, this relationship only has feelings. If I take my feelings away, will it still be love? And if your answer is no, then you already know, then you need to make another move. Because if I don't feel, I did this with a group of friends and just to see with people, I said, I want to see what will happen. Are these people my friends? If I don't reach, will we have any communication? That was me. I took my move out. Without the reach, my phone was dry. If I didn't make the move, nobody was calling me, nobody was checking on me. And I realized this was a one-sided situation. And so if you take out the thing that you think is the most important to your relationship, you take that away, what elements does it have? Is it feeding you? Don't y'all been watching Married at First Sight? Don't be Paige. Please don't be Paige. I just don't know if y'all been watching Married at First Sight.
Some people have.
Y'all been watching that. Don't be Paige, right? You're moving about your feeling and what God desires, and God saying, "Hey, I ain't got nothing to do with it." That don't make sense. And in my own previous situation, I needed words and the action come into agreement because what I realized is that the word that he was speaking was talking to the part of me that wanted to fulfill this relationship, and the actions didn't line up. He was talking a whole lot of stuff and ain't did nothing to show up for it, and yet I was showing up because I love him.
Mm-hmm.
I realized then that I had to take my one dimensional love and make it 3D. I need everything to come together.
I love it. And listen, let's read some of these comments. LaRonda saying, I need a master class. Joy said, and they out of two different states. They're like, yeah, me too, girl. Danny said, where's my notebook and my pen? They like, come on, y'all. Yes. And so I did that this year. I'm on whatever. LaRonda says, I did that this year and I'm on whatever vibe you're on. And I think a lot of people in the pandemic, felt kind of came out feeling like that. Like, I'm gonna start vibing on the energy that I'm receiving because I'm giving a lot, but I'm not receiving a lot. I love that.
I don't really know if I mean, I might kind of have to respectfully disagree with that. I
Okay, let's go.
you gotta set the vibe and
Okay.
your wave. You know what I mean? Like because you hop on somebody that's not you. That's not being true to who you are. If you catch somebody else's vibe, right? Like if anything, I set the tone, and we can maybe match it, but it ain't gonna be like I'm not catching you now. We gonna have to match this vibe. Are you gonna have to come and catch my vibe? Because you start catching other people's vibe, then that opens the doors to like now you giving a lot and it may not be reciprocated. And now you gotta like Dominique said earlier, you gotta backtrack and come on the back end and try to reestablish your own wave. And it's like, nah, we've been riding this wave the whole time. So I respectfully disagree.
Look, and LaRonda says,
I'm with
LaRonda says, tell me why. Go ahead, Tom.
I'm with it because you can't fault people for not having the capacity to fill the space that you had designed for them. Because especially when it comes to the males, I have a lot of guy friends and they will tell you most of the time men come in and they tell you exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. For some reason, we hear different and think that we can be different. He come in saying, I don't really want nothing serious. I don't really want none of this. And you like, but he called me and went to eat because he told you he wanted to go eat. He wanted to kick it and chill too. You know what I'm saying? And when he doesn't have the capacity to fulfill what you need done, when he came in exactly who he was, you can't really fault him for that or that other person. You just have to go with your move and move to a place that may have the space, the willingness, the desire to match what you have. And if they're not a match for you, that don't mean you throw them away. That's a match for somebody else. It's just not your match. And that doesn't mean I have to be rude. But my vibe, I'm coming in, I'm always willing and I'm ready. And if that's not what you own, love you with the love of the Lord. Let's go find somebody that can reciprocate what it is that I'm putting off.
So what do you think? So, like, are you guys saying the same thing, Saeed? Because it's like I kind of hear this similar thing. Like you start out being your authentic self, and you know, if I'm the kind that I'm gonna call, I'm gonna text, I'm gonna check in on you. That's who I am authentically. But then when it's not reciprocated, it's like, oh, okay
then. So I think vibes is like those gears, right? Like those gears that be like that. If you have a vibe and you have a vibe and the vibe is like decent and they match, it's gonna be like those gears, right? It's gonna be able to slide in there. But obviously, if it's not, then it end up being like that, and where you can't go through it, right? So you will know if you do your vibe, they do their vibe, and then it slide in like gears. If not, it ain't gonna work. If the vibes don't match, right? Because it can be different vibes, but a left and a right, if they work together.
I agree. Danny says, I realized that when I started being my authentic self, well, I think I put authentic in here, and not trying to impress the person, my vibe was appreciated. I think a lot of people are looking for a sincere spirit, like to be very honest. So let's kind of shift now into identifying. And audience, I need y'all to tell us, is it hard to identify a person with healthy personality characteristics? Is it hard to identify toxic? And we're going to get our experts to talk about healthy. I'm with y'all. Look, we experting together. Okay. So healthy and toxic relationships, or I'm sorry, not relationships, but personality traits. So let's describe some healthier personality characteristics. What say the both of y'all?
First in therapy.
What you say?
First and foremost, somebody that's in therapy.
Working on themselves, definitely.
Doing the work, right. The healthy characteristics.
Yes.
Somebody that's I think a healthy space is somebody that realizes there's always room to grow. Somebody that's open to not saying that I want to change you, but I realize that I don't have it all together. Mm-hmm. And so as we can get to a place where when I was might have had this together, or that there's still something that I can put on with this. That way, if I come in and what I desire, you have the willingness to kind of want to meet that. Then you don't feel like I'm trying to change you. I'm not necessarily trying to change you, but could you be open to the idea that it may need a little more work in that area, or either just be open to it because until I get where I am, it'll help me be a little more comfortable. So somebody that's real, somebody that's honest, somebody that's true, doesn't mind being, doesn't mind being wrong. I think that's important too. Like, you don't mind being wrong, that it's not always a fight if I don't get it right. And who knows their family background, like that's very important.
It is. And look, we have some of our audience, they're saying like toxic men love me. Somebody saying like they used to run toward toxic men, and now they run away from it. And we could go on and on. Hey, Toya, I see you. So look, I actually created a little bit of a list
Yeah.
when it comes to healthy characteristics, and I'm gonna get Dom and Saeed to talk about it with me. Healthy characteristics would look like somebody who's transparent but wise in their words.
Mhm.
They are in alignment, meaning what they say and how they behave is in alignment, that there isn't a I say this and do something else. Overall, have a good track record of healthy relationships. Even if they have an ex, they don't bash or dog the ex and it's all their fault, but they know how to honor the person that they left or left them or whatever and keep it moving. Someone able to compromise, good communication skills, and fights fair, healthy. Y'all want to add anything to what healthy characteristics look like? Because I thought that was wonderful. I was like, okay, that's really good.
Yeah, I think you hit them all.
Yeah, you get them all. Like even if they like a subpart, they in the category. I think
Stay in
those
the category.
they in the category.
Okay. So Tori says, I'm here to learn. Okay. Okay. So toxic. We're going to talk about toxic characteristics. Now I'm going to read off the list and then you guys respond. Toxic characteristics can look like, in some instances, a person who's guarded. They're not congruent, meaning what they say and what they do, it looks different. Easily, they can easily disconnect from others. Manipulative, has difficulty managing their anger and their words. They don't fight fair. Self-absorbed to the point of selfish. Blames other and criticizes others.
Those are good.
I hit them also.
Yeah, you hit
Yeah.
them. You got them.
Okay. So what do we say to the empathic spirit? Because the empathic person is who I know I'm called to. So what do we say to the young ladies or the men who are listening who says, I consider myself a nice person and toxic people seem to gravitate towards me? Let's talk to those people. What do y'all say about that? Look. Like, tag, and share, people. Like, tag, and share.
I think the first thing I would want to know about that person, that's because I'm an empath as well. I'm a super empath. I barely even watch TV shows because I get so empathic. But I would want to know, like, there's a lot of addictions that we don't know we have, and I think sometimes like we can be addicted to toxic relationships.
Say it one more time.
And I think we can be addicted to toxic relationships.
Yes.
And the thing about the body is, the amazing thing about the body is, it's always gonna seek homeostasis. It's always gonna want to be in its comfort zone, right? And it can get used to anything. The body can adapt to anything.
Yeah.
It can adapt to these toxic relationships. And when you're not even trying to run back to these toxic relationships, if you're not mindful, your subconscious mind, your body will take you back to those relationships. It's almost like, a lot of people, being broke is an addiction per se, right? That's why people can get tax money and get $8,000-9,000 and all of a sudden be broke. Because guess what? Their body is used to living paycheck to check. Their mind is used to living paycheck to paycheck. And now their subconscious mind is like, oh, I need this. I need a new couch. I need this. Now you got 3 sets of furniture that you don't even need. But your body is so used to it, to being in that homeostasis, that it goes back to that. So you have to be mindful about it, even with toxic relationships. you may just be like, you might want to ask yourself, like, what did I see growing up? What am I used to? And what have I been in for this period of time? Because it don't really take that long to create an addiction. So I would ask those questions, and like, it's about the energy you put out. Like, you put that energy out there, you'll attract them kind of people. First and foremost, I would even stop saying it. I would go in that chat and erase. I attract toxic people. I did,
That's
because
it.
I would do that. Like, I don't know. This is my thought.
I definitely want to speak to that based on what you're saying. I like how you said your body, you really can adapt to anything. And a lot of people are addicted to the excitement, I think, of the toxic relationship, the bad boy, the bad girl, the one that rejects you, the one that, like, what they do is they pour just enough attention on you to it gets you hooked, then they abandon you again, and back and forth. So you get used to the excitement of that toxic relationship. And look, I've heard on so many platforms that once the good girl or the good guy presents themselves, you're like, baby, I'm bored. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of because you're used to the highs and the lows of hurt, crying, and then if you're makeup, sex. I mean, it's a whole thing that goes with it. Okay, we getting, yes, so true. So one girl said, "I'm in recovery. I used to be an addict. I'm in recovery." Dominique, you want to talk about that, the addictive part?
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody on here, if you watch the United States versus Billie Holiday movie, have y'all seen that yet?
Not yet, not yet.
That was a very good depiction of what we're talking about, except she was actually addicted to heroin. So much so that because there was something that happened to her when she was younger, and she lost her boundary for sexual activity and anything that was sexual, she only saw something that happened for aggression, her means to get any attention, or her segue through life. And so to deal with that toxic stuff, sometimes we have to be honest and say, there is something on the inside of me that when I connect with this person, it ignites something in me that I either don't want to reveal, I don't want to admit it's there, and I don't know it's there. It's not just that I'm empathic and I have the broken bird syndrome and I want to fix the bird, but the bird takes the time away from me to focus on the broken me that I don't want to either have to admit because of shame, have to admit because I've suppressed it for so long, or have to admit because I just don't want to be honest and say that I'm broken too. And so we put a lot of time into fixing other people, because then we don't have to fix ourselves.
Absolutely.
Or you just like the fact that, like he said, your default setting is toxic because your home was toxic and it's all you know. And so it cultivated in you from a child that love looks like cursing me out, hitting me. And until he scream my name and throw me up against the window, he don't really love me. You too calm for me. I can't identify that as, because for me, love looked like this. And when you have all of those things working together, just like he said, you do have to tell yourself, and you have to change your default setting. Because every morning before we got a new computer operating system, I would go into my office and my phone in my office would go back to its original default. And every day I had to come in and manually turn the volume up, because if I didn't make the decision every day to turn the volume up, my phone, even though it was a brand new phone, it operated into the default setting what it came in, which was a low volume. And sometimes we don't want to do the work that it takes, that every day I make the decision to delete his number, to delete his name, to not text him, to not talk to her. And the day I don't make that decision is the day my brain goes into default. And I make that decision until my conscious and my conscious mind realizes that we don't do this anymore, we do that. I know that was a whole lot, but you know.
Listen. Okay, listen, sir. Listen. If y'all not taking notes, just go back and rewind. They going crazy in the comments. Can y'all like, tag, and share? Because the nuggets y'all getting on this platform tonight, that is so good. What I like about what's being said is every day You have to reset, especially if you are addicted to it, if you've come out of that, if you are from toxic, if you were raised around it every day. I love that. You have to choose. So, and then it goes back to what Saeed said. He said, don't keep saying that toxic people are attracted to me, because what do we know about what we say? We can have what we say. So when you're trying to break that cycle every day, like Dom said, every day I'm saying, nope, I'm pushing a reset button. And we're no longer saying a toxic is attracted. I attract healthy. Listen, listen. We need either a moment of silence and take a deep breath. I don't light a candle. I don't know tonight. Listen, press like, tag, and share, because this is so good. We all have our war stories. You know, we often think that women have a lot of war stories about being in a toxic relationship, but we're gonna put our brother Saeed, he don't mind, on the spot. Don't start scratching down, Saeed. So Saeed, we want to know, we often hear from women, we have war stories. We want to know, what does a toxic female look like? Because guess what?
Woo.
So watch this. Some of us might be toxic and don't know it, friend. Break it down for us, Saeed.
I would say one thing is like a toxic female is I think a lot of mistrust is toxic. Like always, too many negative assumptions is toxic. Uh, I think the main thing I see like from women, or the main thing I hear like my friends talk about, is insecurities too. Insecurities, a lot of too many insecurities is toxic. Um, and granted, I know a lot of these insecurities, a lot of this mistrust come from toxic male relationships, but it's almost like a curse. You've been cursed, and now you're carrying this curse. It's almost like black magic. This black magic been placed upon you, and it wasn't done with a wand. It was just done with words or with actions. But you're carrying this mistrust, and now you're carrying all this into the next relationship that may be a healthy. But the moment you start making these assumptions, the moment you start leading with the mistrust or the left foot, then it's like, okay, this is kind of getting kind of toxic for me. So I don't think it's as blatant maybe as like men or whatever, but I do think it's a lot of passiveness and like toxic traits with women.
So it starts out. We listen. They have the tea, the cups. They like, spill the tea, sir. Spill it, because you know why I think this is important. Because as women, we at times look at ourselves as the victim. Oh, I've been hurt, and I've been this, and I've been
But
that.
that can be victimization all the time. Is like you are not the victim all the time. Like that's toxic.
That's a toxic mentality.
Yeah,
Because right, because then with that mentality, you don't know, okay, but now you're also spilling that over to what could have been a healthy relationship. So we want to break it down. You said mistrust, you said negative assumptions and insecurity. So when you first get in a relationship and you're already willing to, or you want to look through the telephone, or they 5 minutes late from their usual routine, and that triggers your ex used to like dip and skip. So the new healthy guy, he stopped to go feed a homeless man. And you're like, um uh right. And so how long do you think, Zach, we want to stop for it. How long do you think a man can tolerate if he really likes the girl? How long do you think he could tolerate it before it's like, all right, all right?
I don't think a man can tolerate it as long, honestly. Especially when just the culture we in today, the climate we in today. There's already a lot of like stuff that men don't want to deal with, right? And then you go try to catch a vibe, you go just try to like get some fresh air, and it's like, hey, I'm running out to hang with my friends, but my friends ain't as toxic as your last dude's friends. Now I got to hear you talk. Now I got to hear all the nonsense, and it's like, man, I can't deal with that. Then you got to go to work, deal with work. Then you turn the TV on, you see the black men getting killed, and all the stuff that this does to your psyche. Now your home, your safe space, it won't last long. Already, if you think about how men are genetically built anyway, it's not gonna last. I don't think it will last long.
This is good. Like, I don't, okay, Dominique, do you have something to say? I have something to say, but do you have something to say, Dom?
Well, I just want to, he says so much stuff, but I think it's so important for the men to realize that you are not obligated to put up with it just because it's a real insecurity, right? You didn't create it, but I do know men that are in spaces that are in toxic situations because they are manipulated by the insecurity that you didn't make, but that you feel obligated to have to stand by and wait to see if it changes, and it never does, right? And that's just being honest. Women have the tendency. Ours may not look blatant because it's wrapped up in truth. And let's be real. When you're talking about an insecurity is a real thing that you're dealing with and how you feel about yourself. So because it's wrapped up in truth, it doesn't look like a blatant toxic trait, but it is. Because yes, it is true that you have gained some weight, but what's also true is your insecurity about your size and not being like another woman. But what's also true is you ain't stopped eating. Okay. So you see what I'm saying? Like, are you doing what it takes just as you would want a man to delete the numbers? Okay. Well, what are you doing on your end to make sure that that insecurity is not also affecting him? And so, yes, women, ours may not be as blatant, but we have some stuff with us too. And we too can be toxic. And when we both are honest about that, that toxicity can come from, it doesn't matter the gender. It doesn't matter the age. It can show up. If we're honest about that, then we won't shift the blame on so many other people and be back in the garden. We both ate. Yeah, right. And I also think that we have to stop living. I think a lot of women live in that he's guilty until he shows me that he's innocent.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We don't give him a clean slate coming in. He's guilty until he's innocent because I didn't do the work to clear the mess that John left. And now I'm putting it all on Ben. And so he's automatically somebody that he isn't, which means you are never giving him the opportunity to be his authentic and to show up because you're all constantly treating him like the man that you don't know he is because you keep looking at him, but you see somebody else.
Right.
So you got to give him a clean slate. If you're not going to give him a clean slate, then what are you dating him for? For what? Either he going to be innocent coming in and let him prove to you that he is just like him, or there is no need for you to be on the manhunt because you don't trust men and you don't trust yourself to be able to know the difference between a man that is honest and a man that is dishonest. And until you forgive the other man and yourself, you just going to keep knocking this man up against the head and demanding a Louis Vuitton purse when you don't even like that.
And look, this is so good, y'all. Like and share. Listen, they are like clean slate. They are just reiterating what you guys are saying. And I just want to say to all the ladies and to the gentlemen who are watching, if you hear yourself, if you're like, oh my God, I think that's me. I think I've been the toxic one all along. We are also saying help is right at your fingertips. You don't have to stay toxic. It is challenging to get rid of a mindset that has kept you safe. People don't just have defense mechanisms for no reason. Your defense is what you believe is keeping you safe. Oh, I'm going to catch him in the act of cheating before he cheats. Ma'am, how are we doing that? But in your mind, you think, I am going to find out early so that I'm not shocked like how I was before. You're trying to keep yourself safe. And we're telling you, if you know that that is you, help is at your fingertips. Say, I'm going to take a 3-month sabbatical from dating. Let me go work on me because I'm a little jacked up. And I can admit that. And we started this whole conversation by saying, you got to be honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they said, okay, go ahead. What do y'all have something to say? He says, buy your own purse. She said, I was definitely the victim who became the victimizer. Now that's good also.
That is so good.
That's good. So a lot of times the victim then becomes what they hated.
Right.
I'm gonna let y'all talk. Go ahead. Talk, take it away, somebody.
Well, I think that's so true. You become the thing that hurts you, and then you're hoping to find or experience something different, but you're living in this repeated cycle. And it's so true to realize that that is an issue and the problem that you are having, because until you realize that a lot of it too is me, I think it helps you to not continue to exempt yourself from it. You're never going to be something different if you stay the same. And I know your mom on them said, that's how the women in our family, we always been like that. But if you look down your family line, and what you desire does not look like that, then you have an obligation to change it if you
Change.
want something different. Because if mama and them say we all been bullheaded and stubborn and can't nobody tell us nothing and we dominate the man, and you look down the line and Momo, great grandma, auntie, them, your cousins, and they all just everybody single, then at some point you got to say, well, what I want and what they say we have to be doesn't agree with each other. So I have to go find someone that can help me do something different. And that's the part where we don't want. We don't want to have to admit to other people that I'm not as perfect as I post to be on my social media.
That's right. That's good. Saeed, you want to add on to it?
Yeah, sure. You gotta operate from that, like Dominic said. You gotta look down that family line. They don't do credit checks and rental history checks for nothing. Like we gotta use that same concept. You go look at the history. You see your mom single, your grandma single, your great grandma single, all your aunts are single. They say that apple don't fall too far from the tree, but you gotta figure out why. You gotta go and make those changes. If it's everybody got an attitude, everybody pops off at the mouth. Okay, like you gotta go and just make those changes, and you gotta also realize. I think a big thing is like a lot of people we look at curses like this mythical thing, but we can really be put under curse, and that's what that really is. It's a curse. Like, so y'all are just cursing that just keep passing and passing down. So you got to kind of be the one that break that curse.
Yeah.
And then I just want to speak on something that Dominic said a little earlier about men. I tell dudes all the time, like, don't carry nobody else's trauma. If she don't want to go process her stuff, don't carry her trauma. That's her trauma.
That's good.
Don't carry nobody else's trauma. And also, the reason why the victim becomes a victimizer is because they never process it. You got it, and it goes back to like everybody was saying, take that 3 months off, and go process that hurt. You you become the victimizer when you come out of a victim situation and go straight into another one without processing and getting to know what happened and then sitting with it for a little bit.
Yeah.
If not, then you won't become the victimizer.
And I like how what I have learned and what I teach others is they say, how do I process? You start out with asking why. How did I get here? And how did I get here? We'll look at the family history. We'll look at the fact that boundaries wasn't set. We'll look at the fact, well, you know what? I have to admit, I met him when my self-esteem was really low. Like literally asking yourself, how did I get here? And sometimes you could do that on your own, but a lot of times you do need the assistance of someone else to pull out that dysfunctional pattern to say, well, no, this is where you ignored the toxic trait. This is where you became the toxic one. Asking yourself, how did I get here? Will help you to process your situation and then to make those changes. This is good to y'all because it's good to me. Miss Loretta says I took 3 years off and paid $400 a month in therapy. Good job. Victoria says, and carrying other trauma goes for everyone, family, friends, and boo.
Oh.
It's not yours. Don't do it, Victoria. I love that. You can't carry mama's trauma. You cannot carry your best friend's trauma. You can't carry it. Sheila says, don't carry it. They love this. Okay. All right, guys. Well, listen, we have had a wonderful conversation. Believe it or not, we are at the close of this conversation. There's so many other things that we could just go into. But I'm going to ask Dominique to start first. If you can tell people, because you really have impacted them today, so has Saeed, how can people reach you, to talk to you, to link with you? Tell them how.
To talk to me, link with me. I'm sorry, my brain was still processing everything. You know, that trauma. Don't pick up somebody else's trauma. That hit a little different. You can find me on social media. I am Dominique S. Washington, Dominique S. Washington on Facebook. I am Pastor Dominique on Instagram and Twitter. I don't tweet that much though. Or you can go to pastordominique.com. That's do Monique. In order to see everything there, it's on Amazon. I'm really not being, trying to be all that when I'm saying, if you Google it, all of the books will come up. But if you go on Amazon and you type in my name, you will see all of the books. The latest book, And She's Still Smiling, is out and it's available. If you click the link in my Instagram bio, you can see it there. And I think that's about it of how you find me on social media. I think.
So wait, Dominique, y'all, they said, wait a minute. No, don't go. Ask one more question.
One more question.
So wait, I think that before Saeed gives his handle, I think we should really quickly just talk about what people should look for in a healthy relationship. We exhausted the healthy person, the toxic person, but what kind of things, should we look for in a healthy relationship? The hour did go by quick, guys. So we're going to get this one last question in, and then we're really going to go. Saeed is going to give us his handle. So how would y'all answer that?
I would say start with the vetting process. I would say we got to start the right questions in the beginning. And some of those questions, like, what's your relationship like with your mother? What's your relationship like with your sister? What's your relationship like with your friends? What was your longest relationship? I think asking those intentional questions. I know some dudes that might be like, "Oh, you asking too much," but obviously, why am I asking too much? I hate not to break any kind of man code, but
break the code.
Break the code, Saeed. That's why we have you on here, friend.
Yeah, but it's just all about asking those intentional questions in the beginning.
I like that. Now,
it's kind of and sometimes just to clean that up a little bit. Sometimes it's what people don't say speak volumes too. So pay attention to those nonverbal cues.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Wait a minute, Dominique. Before you go, Rhonda has a question. She's saying, how long after texting and talking should you wait for a guy to ask you out on a date? Now, Saeed, come on, break all the codes for us, Saeed. I'll give you $10, Saeed. What? How long should we wait?
I don't think it's about how long you should wait. I think that's a question that you really got to ask yourself. Like, do this feel natural or not? Because it could be one of them things where I set the vibe and yeah, we might occupy like the same space, but I can't bring my stuff and you bring your stuff and then look a mess. I just think it's a personal question. Like you know it feel right. You know it don't feel right. Like if you texting and calling somebody and it's like, hold on, like I ain't heard from them. Yeah, that's not normal. Not anybody and nobody can say, okay, well, it goes back to all these cliche sayings that we hear. People make time for what they want to make time for. We just think because they was passed on, they're not relevant. But those statements and those little cliches are so relevant. Like people make time what they want to make time for. I'm not going to text you, and then you just go a day or two, and then hit me back. Then I text you, then it's not happening.
It's not right. And for the guys, I believe I've observed, I've seen it, Saeed. So you got to back us up. Men are the hunters. Yeah, when they want something,
the first command, one of the first things that God said in the Bible to men is go conquer and pursue. What do you say?
What is it? Pursue and conquer. I know what you're saying.
First commandment that he got was pursue and conquer. And that's the first thing a man was ever told. So we're going to pursue and conquer.
I have seen it. I've seen it. And, okay, last thing. I have been told by my male friends that a guy can be, look real special. Like maybe they're not the handsomest guy or whatever. But they can get any girl. Because when a man makes up his mind, he can have what he wants. So, ladies, if a guy is not calling you back, he's not interested. Period. Can we agree on that?
We agree.
Agree. So,
And
Dominic, you have go ahead.
I
Break
said,
it, Saeed. Tell us more, Saeed.
I said, and vice versa.
And vice versa. That's right. That's right. That's right. Okay, Dominique, you want to say something to that before we get started through his head?
To the dating one, I really think too, there's nothing wrong with having your intent, but also what you desire put on the table, right? Sometimes we assume that people should automatically know because there's so many books, and Steve Harvey gave us number, and it's a 72-hour rule and a 48-hour rule and a 3-month rule. It's so many rules that all of these people have come up with that we forget. But what is it that you desire? If you going in and say, hey, I need some intentionality behind how you moving, then I need to say that my expectation or what I desire is, hey, I got like a little eight conversation rule after I feel this, that, and the third. I am the type of woman that likes to be taken out and be asked out. I'm the type of woman that likes for a man to plan the date, because your feelings gonna be hurt if you go in assuming that every man, especially on my case, my daddy is a rare breed, right? If I go in expecting everybody to be as thoughtful and as grandiose as my dad is, my feelings gonna be hurt because there's only one Ricky Washington. So for me to go in with the assumption that every mind is gonna automatically remember and know that I like this and I like that because that's what my dad knows, and every man gonna buy elaborate gifts. But if I don't set in my conversation that I'm being sure to also put that I want some intentionality behind it, I can't be mad if he doesn't do the thing that he didn't even know he needed to do because I like for him to do it. Right? If you like flowers, say, hey, I'm used to, not just we'll say we want the bag, but not say we want the little stuff. Like I am a person that likes thoughtfulness. If you do something thoughtful, it can be, I love mugs. You buy me a mug from the Dollar Tree and I'm like, oh, I got a mug because I like thoughtfulness over expensive. You buy me an MCM bag. Okay, cool. But I don't really care that you spent money. Did you pay attention to what it is that I like? Not how much money you spent, but that's me. My sister, on the other hand, she might want an MCM bag because she's into bags. She's into the Louis. Me, on the other hand, you buy me some red bottoms, I might wear them and I'm going to be thankful. But for me, it's going to be like, man, I wish he would have just been thoughtful and knew my favorite color was blue and I like M&M's. So can he put them in the mail and I'm game, right? Mm-hmm. And so not being afraid to put out what it is that you desire. If you want him to take you on a date, it's okay to put that in your conversation. Yeah. So I like to eat, right?
I agree. I mean, so I don't want to start a whole nother conversation, but Saeed, I'm sorry, you're the representation of men that we have right now. Do men like for women, not in an overbearing way, but how Dom said it, like casually say, well, I'm the type of girl, I really like flowers, or I like thoughtfulness, I could buy my own expensive bag, but this is why. Do you think men like that?
I don't think it matters if men like it or not. I think it's all stuff out there. Like I think if a man won't like it, then you got to question like his ability to communicate his needs. But I don't think it matters, man or female. If I'm telling you what I like and you don't want to hear it, then a red flag one.
Red flag one.
Like so, it's not about what somebody likes. You set your tone. You set the tone. You bring that vibe, and they're gonna either catch it or they not. If they don't want to catch it, don't be like, well, he didn't want to hear it, and then later on when he don't want to hear nothing else, it's on you.
Right. Or when you show up at the restaurant and he like, you got the check? Because I only eat at Chili's 2 for $25. This more expensive than I thought. Because you ain't want to tell that man that you like real quick sometimes. And he was like, man, I just like spare ribs. Like, my bad. So you got this, So I think it's all about what you communicate. Like, and being okay to communicate what it is that you want. Not to be overly aggressive and overbearing, but to just be authentically yourself and say, I like this and I want this or I desire this. But like he said, men do the same thing. I have, guy friends who will tell you he like flowers. and he would literally go to the store and buy himself flowers all of the time because he's a man that likes flowers, right? And so in knowing that, it wouldn't be nothing for one of his female friends to send him flowers. Why? Because that's what he likes. And so it's not just a one-side appeal. Man, if you really like for to just chill and you want her to dress up, say that. Because like, so I think you just got to be willing to put yourself on the table and be open and truly honest with it, and stop, being who you think you have to be based upon what society, your mama, your cousin, your other homeboy and them did. Just be you and bring all of that to the table.
Just don't be sterile with it. Don't come on the first date with a long
No, like this.
like
Yeah.
so I like this, I don't like this. I like that, I don't like that. Don't be sterile with it. Just be natural and genuine and
Yeah, in them conversations that y'all talk about nothing, because
yeah.
that's also a red flag for me, coming in saying, I need a woman of God and she need to submit and sit on the third row. That's a red flag for me. So
Yeah.
don't woman of God me on date one.
Period.
I'm not.
So Don, we church girls, so that's how. Yeah, we don't do that. Don't do that. Because you're looking for the position, you're not looking for the person. Don't get me started.
And that El Rohi, I need you to see me. That's gonna be like one of my signs. I'm throwing him game out there just in case he watching. That's important to me, that you saw me, the woman me, not the position, not the title, not the preacher, not the first lady, because I don't really want to do that either. But you saw me and what I am, and you wanted to get to know me, not my Bible app, but you wanted to know like what make you tick, what you like, like that's important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for guys too, don't get with guys just because of the title or their job or whatever it is, or, oh, I can't wait to be a first lady. Like that's going to be one of my books. Like the people who are waiting to be pastors' wives or football, whatever. Like, don't be so in love with the man's position, and get to know him just like you want him to get to know you. Okay. Anyway, we can go on and on and on. So Toya was like, yes, trophy wife. And Shay says, see me. And I think everybody wants to be seen. Everybody.
Yeah. Somebody said not reading the list. I did have somebody literally come. I felt like I was on the interview, and he literally had his iPad and I was asked interview questions. And I was like, for America's next first lady. And I was like, at what point can I say check, please? Like, the weirdest thing ever. Guys will show up with their list too, and it's a whole lot. Needless to say, that was the last time I saw him, and I wasn't rude. I just let him know I wasn't feeling it. I'm sorry. You're a great man, but not for me.
That's it.
I ain't just ghost him. I let him know that he was being ghosted.
I love it. But both of you guys are really stressing, and I love that we're bringing it home with this. Show up as your authentic self. So if you guys didn't get, I know y'all got a lot of nuggets. One, do the work individually. Do the work. You are worth it. Do the work for you first. Do the work. Second, show up as your authentic self. You deserve somebody to see you, who is going to honor you and love you for who you are, and be open and healed enough to give that out. Clearly, there has to be a part two. Saeed, listen, y'all, this is my first time seeing Saeed face to face. And I'm going to say this before he talks about his handle. We're in a counselor group together, a whole bunch of counselors, over 1,000 counselors. And we're talking, and this one lady put something about the Duchess and Harry, blah, blah, blah. And some of our counselor friends or Facebook friends went crazy on her. And so my comment was empathic toward her, like, yo, y'all going crazy on this girl. And then I read his, he was empathic. I'm like, okay, you know what? I got to have him on this show. So Saeed, you are our new brother. Welcome to the family.
Appreciate it.
We will definitely have you back. Would you tell everybody, and we will do a part two. I see you guys. Will you please do the work detective? Okay. Will you please give us your handle?
So I'm not on all of them, but I don't tweet, but I am on there as Amir Saeed, AMYR SAIYD. I'm on Facebook as Saeed Amir, The difference is on Facebook it's AMIR instead of AMYR, and I'm on Instagram as officially Saeed Amir, which is that AMYR. I mix up the Y and the I sometimes.
Why? We want to know.
You want to know why? So
Why?
all my life I've been told my middle name is spelled AMIR. Then I went and got my passport, or when I get my my birth certificate said AMYR. So I haven't had the opportunity to ask my mother which one it was, so I just been using both of them.
Okay, that's good enough. Okay, look, LaRonda says, welcome to Cookout Saeed. You are LaRonda, you are hilarious. Look, LaRonda, I might have to get you on the show one day. She is with me every week. So again, thank you, Dominique. Thank you, Saeed. Guys, connect with them. Saeed is a licensed therapist. Listen, Dominique will counsel you better than most. Listen. So please connect with these two powerful, wonderful people. And yes, they are both single, okay? And really single, okay? Okay, okay. They both single. So if y'all think y'all are one or you know somebody, I'm playing. I'm playing. But
Don't
if,
say it.
listen, if there's just going to be a love connection from my show, I'm going to be excited. And I'm showing up to everybody's wedding fully dialed up, period. Okay. I love you guys. Toya said, oh, girl. Okay. I love you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you, Dominique. Thank you, Saeed, for sharing a part of your heart and your expertise. Thank you guys for watching. We stay full this entire time. Like, share. Please put this on your page so somebody can really get these nuggets. Y'all have a wonderful night. God bless y'all. Hi.
Bye.
You see, trying to figure out how to end the show. Bye, y'all.